Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to W.M.S.T podcast. Tonight, we're going to be doing something a little different. So, this is some bonus content for our channel where we will be revealing our top 10 favorite comic book movies of all time. So, each member is going to give their list, and then at the end of the video, we will reveal a W.M.S.T official list for favorite comic book movie. Now, this is a list we've been thinking of for about a month, and so we're really excited to show you guys which comic book movies we really like and think are some of the best so far. With that, let's introduce you to the cast. We got a full house tonight to reveal the list. We've got editor in
Well,
chief
not really.
Ziggler. Almost.
Yeah, there is a movie on Shawn's list that is very questionable. Tyler knows.
Yeah,
I
we'll
know.
see. We'll see. I don't know, so yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I have no idea why he put that on his list.
Oh boy.
I know everybody's list.
Tyler, can you agree with
just
me
made
that
the
one
list.
movie on Shawn's list is fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Speaking of Tyler, he's the man who's going to be tallying our lists tonight. What's up, Tyler?
The return. I've been gone for like 6 months. I don't know.
He's been in hiding.
Yeah.
About time, that son of a bitch.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Right. Well, happy to
Worse
have you
than
back.
Brock.
Damn.
No.
Nah. And it's the man with no gimmicks, Cam.
How could you, Tyler? How did you get confused about my list? How?
Look, you had two lists and you said HM. I didn't know that meant honorable mentions. Okay, that's not a common the acronym or what's the word? Is that the word?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
Less said
work.
about it.
Yeah. And it's the boy, Hound.
Hey, what's up, boys? How's it going?
What
The
up?
little brother of the group.
Alright. Alright, so you know what? We'll have Cam give the list, give his list first, because he's got to go. So, Cam, go ahead with your top 10 list and give a brief explanation as to why you chose to put the movie on your top 10. Go ahead.
Now, this 10 list isn't in particular order. This is just the movies that stuck out the most in my mind. Number one would be Avengers Endgame from this year, 2019. It's basically the perfect comic book movie. Number two is Avengers Infinity War from 2018. I really like this movie just for the storyline of Thanos trying to get all the Infinity Stones. He's basically the star of the movie. Number three is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. It's basically a love letter to the Spider-Man comics. Number four is Logan from 2017. I love it just for the story and how it's basically Hugh Jackman's last hurrah as the Wolverine. Number five is Thor Ragnarok from 2017. I love we've already gone on at how we really love this movie just for its comedy and its action. I love it for the comedy. Number six is 2018's Black Panther. I've gushed on and on about this movie during our Road to Endgame. By the way, that's in the archives. A lot of time, effort, and a lot of attention to detail went into this movie. I love it just for the visuals. Number eight is a movie that I actually never get a chance to talk about. 1994's The Crow, starring Brandon Lee. It's based off of an old comic by Eric Obar. I love the movie for how different it is, how dark it is. It's really a fascinating movie. I highly recommend it. Number eight is the second Spider-Man movie directed by Sam Raimi, 2004. It was a toss-up between this and the first one, but I prefer the second one. Number nine is 2014's X-Men Days of Futures Past. I haven't really seen the movie since it came out, but it still sticks out in my mind as probably the best X-Men movie besides Logan. And number 10 is And number 10 is Captain America: Civil War. I love the movie for the action.
Sounds good, Cam. Thank you for that awesome list. And just so everybody knows, about after we get the average list, this is something we plan on doing every year. Every hopefully July, we update the list. So yeah, hopefully we keep it going. So now I will go on to reveal my list for the top 10, my top 10 favorite comic book movies of all time. So starting with number 10, I chose Superman the movie, the first one, the first comic book superhero movie back in 1978. As a kid, I was a huge Superman fan, and I loved everything Superman. And when I discovered that there was an actual live action Superman movie, I was like obsessed with it. Now, visually, it doesn't really hold up that well, of course, but I feel like it still has a really solid script and a really awesome Superman in Christopher Reeves. So yeah, that definitely deserves a top 10 spot for being such an influential movie to the comic book genre. And then number 9 is Captain America: Civil War. I loved Civil War for mostly because of how it revolutionized comic book movie storytelling, where you had infighting in a group, and it drove the narrative, and that was really emotional. And yeah, that's one of the many reasons I love Civil War, and a few reasons Cam mentioned. So yeah, number 9 is Civil War. Number 8 is X-Men: Days of Future Past. I love this movie. Like, I watched it recently because I think I've seen it about 5 times, and every time I watch it again, it keeps getting better. This was the first, I believe, the comic movie to play around with the idea of time travel, and I think it does a pretty good job at that. And the action scenes are really awesome. Uh, and it really plays with the idea of the past versions of the characters and the future versions, which I really liked. It looked like a story ripped right from the comic books, and it was really awesome. And it was really awesome to see McAvoy and uh, uh, oh, sorry, what's the other actor's name? Patrick Stewart's. Uh,
Fassbender.
yeah, Professor X. Seeing them interact, that was really cool. Uh, so yeah, that's why I gave it the number 8 spot. Number 7 is Man of Steel. Now, this is my favorite DCEU movie of all time. In my opinion, it's the perfect modern day Superman movie. Henry Cavill is awesome as Superman. Zack Snyder's uh, vision and cinematography is absolutely amazing. Uh, this is probably something I'll talk about more if we do ever do like a Man of Steel review. But the flight scene is one of the best shot scene ever in cinematography history. So yeah, I give number 7 spot to Man of Steel. Number 6 is Avengers 1, the first Avengers movie. It was the perfect beginning to the Avengers franchise. I couldn't believe how perfectly they pulled this movie off. It's one of the most enjoyable movies. It's got great character development. It's got great action, and it really introduces the world. It really connects each dot of the MCU franchises to that point really well. And it's a movie I still watch to this day multiple times every year, and I still don't get bored from it. Number 5 goes to Spider-Man 2. The Sam Raimi sequel to Spider-Man 1 was really awesome. It is still the perfect Spider-Man story. Uh, Peter Parker is just like, you just feel for this guy every turn, and you see him go through these struggles and all that, and it's just really awesome how Sam Raimi understood the characters, and he tapped into the quirkiness of some of the characters' bizarre aesthetics. So I really enjoyed that, and it's to this day, it's still my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. We'll see how Far From Home does. Number 4 goes to Avengers: Infinity War. The 10-year culmination of the MCU comes to a head, and this movie had everything. It had big action, big emotion, big crossover. This was just a buffet of amazing cinematography, and just everything about this movie is awesome. And it left us with one of the most shocking endings in comic book movie history, and just in movie history at all. And uh, very, it's a very Empire Strikes esque, and I really agree with that comparison. And Thanos, Josh Brolin is super freaking awesome. Number 3 goes to Winter Soldier. Now, this is a movie that really got me interested into that spy kind of espionage types of movies. The Russo brothers really implemented uh, a very niche subsection of a genre that I think really made this movie work way better than it should have probably. And it really showed us that the Russo brothers are here to stay and are two of the best directors working today. Uh, and this is the movie that really won over a lot of people with on Chris Evans' Captain America, who I always thought was awesome, but this movie really solidified it. And Winter Soldier was one of he's one of the coolest looking villains of all time for sure. Number 2 is The Dark Knight. Uh, Christopher Nolan, like this man, I can just keep talking about how good he is. He took Batman and he really gave us a emotional, uh, suspenseful, amazing movie. And of course, you can't mention The Dark Knight without mentioning Heath Ledger. He gave a performance of a lifetime. His performance is something you can just keep watching and watching again. You know this man is insane, but you just can't. Uh, uh, you just can't not just just have a smile on your face when you're watching him perform. It's the perfect Batman movie, and it's one of the greatest movies of all time. And speaking of one of the greatest movies of all time, number 1 is Avengers Endgame. Now, this is if you listen to the W.M.S.T podcast every week and you've seen the Avengers Endgame review we did, you know that I already said Endgame it has surpassed Dark Knight on my number 1 movies list. Now, of course, this isn't a perfect movie, but that doesn't matter to me. This movie gave me everything I ever wanted as a comic book fan. Uh, it had like the moments and the conclusiveness of the way it ended the MCU's 11-year run was absolutely phenomenal. And it's just a blast, and it's emotionally resonating and something I will never forget, and something I'll probably keep watching for years to come. So yeah, that's my top 10 favorite comic book movies of all time. All right, so with that, we'll have Tyler reveal his list.
All right, so I'll start at 10, go all the way up to 1. All right, so number 10, I got the original Guardians of the Galaxy. None of you guys have mentioned it yet. Just I feel like this is one of the best movies in the MCU. Like I've said before, we've talked about this movie before. All the characters just have good chemistry. The main 5, they all just go well together. The music in it's great, and just some of the action scenes. Like I know we all love the Power Stone scene, so that is a big plus. At number 9, I got Captain America: Civil War. It was the first MCU movie I saw in the theaters, and I love it. I still love it. I was always Team Iron Man, and it's just a bunch of characters, and it just works. I mean, we all know that works with the MCU. We've seen it before with Avengers and Age of Ultron and all that, but something about it just It moves the MCU, like the storyline. Steve and Tony get separated. They don't see each other for years after this. It's just such a good movie. Number 8, kind of surprised myself. I kind of surprised myself. It's actually The Dark Knight. Um, I just feel like everything above The Dark Knight, I'd rather watch over it. Just The Dark Knight. Uh, it's a long movie. It can get kind of slow at parts, but when it's good, it's good. Like Syed said, Heath Ledger's Joker. You guys probably know he's my favorite Joker. Um, Everything about him is just perfect. I also really like Harvey Dent as Two-Face in this. And then moving on, at number 7, I'm putting Spider-Man into the
Harvey
Spider-Verse.
Dent as Two-Face.
What?
You said I liked Harvey Dent as Two-Face. Harvey Dent is Two-Face.
Yeah, shut up.
I'm just
Anyway.
saying, Harvey Dent's
Okay, I
alter
wasn't
ego
calling
is
him like an-
Two-Face.
Yeah, I wasn't calling him like an actor. I don't know the actor's name. Sorry.
Yeah, nobody else does.
Okay, anyways.
It's Aaron Earhart and
Eckhart.
Eckhart. Yeah.
It's Eckhart.
I'd never
Okay.
do that. Anyway, 7 is Spider-Verse, like I said. The newest Spider-Man movie. I love this movie a lot. Just it's funny. The story is great with especially the kind of twist with Uncle Aaron being Prowler. Kingpin's a fun villain. He looks really goofy, but he just works. The leap of faith scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in a Spider-Man movie. I feel like, and all the characters are just really fun. You got Peter B. Parker. You got the original Peter Parker that died at the beginning. Miles is great. Spider-Gwen's great, and then all the side characters. I know we all love Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham as well. And then you also got Penny, who seems to get left out of most conversations. And then number 6, I got Logan. Like Cam said, it's a perfect chapter to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. A perfect ending to it. Just it's emotional. It's a great story. We've all gone on about it a few times on this podcast. Number 5 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It's my favorite Captain America movie, obviously, since it passed Civil War. The chemistry between Evans and Johansson, it's really great. I've gone over this movie a couple of times on this podcast, so I won't go through it too much. But just the action scenes, like the highway scene, and then the final scene on the helicarrier with Bucky and Steve, that one's really great. And then my number 4 movie is gonna be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. It's still my favorite Spider-Man movie. Spider-Verse does come close to it. I feel like if I watched that more, it might pass it. But Spider-Man 2, we all grew up with it. Where Tobey Maguire is still my favorite Spider-Man for sure. You got Doc Ock, who's a great villain in this movie. The train scene is still it's still one of my favorite fight scenes, honestly. And then I actually really like how MJ found out Peter was Spider-Man, and then the ending where she runs off from her wedding and all that. She realizes, I love you, blah, blah, blah. Number 3 is Avengers Infinity War, the 10-year, whatever the word is, I can't think of it right now, to the MCU. It just works. We've all gone through it.
Culmination.
There you go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Anyways, we've all gone through it. You got great chemistry between all the characters, especially Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch are a standout in that movie with their chemistry without having had a movie beforehand. You got the Thor and the Rocket and the Groot storyline, which I love, and you got 2 of the best fight scenes in Wakanda, and then also on Titan. And Thanos as the villain in that movie he's one of the best villains of all time. We all know that. And the ending to that movie, I feel like we'll just be talking about it for years and years and years. It's just one of the biggest plot twists we ever saw. So yeah, the Battle of Wakanda, Battle of China were some of the best fight scenes, and the ending was one of the biggest plot twists ever. We'll be talking about it for a while, and yeah, after Infinity War, I got my number 2 movie, which is Avengers Endgame. So this, in my opinion, is the best MCU movie. It's just not my personal favorite. You guys already know which my personal favorite is. But the moments in this movie, I went through it on our Endgame episode. You got the assemble scene. You got all the characters coming back. You got just time travel going to the old movies. The Battle of New York, which was one of the most fun scenes in that movie. You got the deaths of Stark and Romanoff, and then you just got everything is just wrapped up. There's not that many flaws in this movie at all, and yeah, it's probably for sure the highest quality film in the MCU. But you guys all know my personal favorite is Ragnarok. I've gone through it multiple times. The action scenes in this movie are a lot of fun. The comedy, as Cam was saying, is gold. And Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi, they just changed how Thor is. And I'm excited to see more of Thor in Guardians 3 if he ends up actually joining that. And the Bifrost scene is by far one of my favorite scenes. Probably not my favorite. Probably that's the assemble scene, but still, you guys get it. Also Jeff Goldblum, and yeah, that's my list.
Sounds really awesome. Thank you for that. We'll come back to you to reveal the final list. Till then, let's have Hound reveal his list. Go ahead, Hound. It's your turn.
All right, so before the list even starts, I want to say these are my favorites. Favorites, not best, not worst. Favorites. All right, everyone got that in mind. So before I get to my list again, I'm gonna be honest. I forgot all about the X-Men movies, and I should have put X-Men First Class on here.
Fake fan.
I watched all the movies, so not really. Anyways, I really should have put it on here, so I'm just gonna put it on as 11, I guess. And then maybe once I get next year, it'll be on the list. Who knows? Anyways, now I'm gonna put number 10 is Fantastic Four from 2005.
What the fuck?
I love that movie so much.
I did that.
I don't care how many people hate it. I don't
Wait,
care how
wait,
bad
wait,
it
wait,
is.
wait, 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 wait. Hound put Fantastic Four?
2005. 2005.
Dude, Tyler, I know.
I know.
What the hell? What are the odds of that?
Hey, that's
What?
a good
Okay,
one.
let me explain.
I know.
Editing
So-
block.
Shawn. What the fuck?
I know.
That's exactly what I put, you fake fan.
No, I'm not. Yo, I love the Fantastic Four, alright? I love that.
That's why
Holy
I'm
shit,
changing my list
boy.
now.
Okay, let me
Dude.
damn.
I think they predicted the Fantastic Four being on the list.
Okay, let me finish.
Okay.
So, I mean, I just love Fantastic Four from 2005. 2014, let's not talk about it. But, like, I grew up with that movie. I remember watching it every day at home. I begged my mom to, like, buy me, like, Mr. Fantastic a toy because I just loved it. Because I just thought Mr. Fantastic was, like, the coolest superhero ever. And I was like, yo, buy me this. And my uncle, like, got me one for, like, Christmas, I think, or maybe my birthday. And I lost it. Like, I don't know where it is. Like, I love that movie so much. I love the costume design. Doctor Doom looks pretty cool at times. Johnny Storm is awesome. Anyways, I talked too much about this movie. Number 9 is actually Spider-Man 2. Another movie I grew up with as a kid. I have the whole blanket from when I was a kid. I remember watching that movie every day. I think I had it on VHS, maybe. That might be too old. I might have it on like a CD or something. Like, I remember watching that movie every day. Toby is like one of my favorite Spider-Man, and Peter Parker. That movie's just perfect. The train scene is just this perfect the third act where Spider-Man saved Mary Jane and the whole like sun star thing. I don't know. The reason why it's so low is because I haven't watched it in years. I actually do need to watch it again. I really do love that movie. Number 8 is actually not a Marvel or a DC, so my life will be different than anyone else's here, and that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I love this movie so much. I recently watched it when it was on Netflix last year, and this movie, like, I love the villains. I love the idea of seven evil exes. Ramona is hot AF. Like, yo, Mary Elizabeth Winstead just brings in that role, and Michael Cera is perfect as Scott Pilgrim. The fights are great. I loved all the comic book like writing that was everywhere, and the sound effects that played. It was just like that movie's just like perfect to me. Even the opening credits, where like they list all of the names of the people in the movie was great. Brie Larson singing was great, even though Syed hates her. I thought that scene was good when it was like, oh no, and then the song starts playing. Anyways, Scott Pilgrim is number 8, and number 7 is The Dark Knight, and I love that movie so much. I remember watching that movie in theaters with my family, and I remember just falling in love with that scene in the interrogation room. Batman and Joker actually talking and finding out, and Batman was just punching the shit out of Joker, and he was just laughing. And I was like, yo, what the heck? I was literally like just an 8-year-old kid. I was like, yo, this is so crazy. The acting in that movie is just insane. Heath Ledger's Joker is the perfect adaptation of the Joker ever brought to film. Don't even bring up Jared Leto's. Jared Leto's is not even a Joker. It's
Well, we
literally
don't know yet because
some
we're gonna get
like
Joaquin Phoenix. So
true. Anyways, Heath Ledger is just amazing in that role. Christian Bale doesn't get enough credit for being Batman and an amazing Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne, like him as Bruce Wayne is just amazing. He puts it perfectly. And the Batman suit is amazing. Like it's the first Batman suit in live action where like the neck can actually turn, I think. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on it. But all the gadgets Batman uses in that movie was great. Two Face is a great villain. The end where he's like running with Gordon's amazing. Um, and then number 6 is Captain America: Civil War. That was my third or second movie I watched of the MCU in theaters. That like I only really watched it for Spider-Man because Spider-Man is just like my favorite superhero besides another one. And that movie, like that fight scene in the airport, is worth watching the whole movie alone. But it is, but that movie isn't just that scene. Like all the scenes with Captain America and Bucky and Black Panther and all the other heroes are just perfect. Russo brothers crafted this amazing superhero epic. Like seriously, like so amazing. Break, it's not echoing anymore. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe it was Shawn, but it's fixed. I don't hear any echo. All right, let's get back to it. 3, 2, 1, go. Number 5 is actually Shazam, starring Zachary Levi. That came out recently this year. I think that movie just so funny. It might be the funniest superhero movie ever. That might be a better stretch, but I love Shazam so much. Like all the comedic act in all the comedy in the movie is great. All the foster kids are great in this movie. The villain I loved. I forgot what the actor's name was. I'm really Mark Strong. Mark Strong is great in this movie, and he plays the villain very well, just like he did in another superhero movie. That might be on my list. Who knows? Anyways, that movie is like just amazing. I love Shazam. I love the suit. I love how it's like Shazam starting to like figure out his powers. And it really and Zachary Levi like really plays like a kid turned into a superhero. Like it honestly works perfectly. And that scene where Billy's talking to his mom and then he finds out all this stuff and he's like, you know what, my real family is out there with the foster guys. I forgot what the names were. And then he runs off the roof, yells, Shazam! and that scene is just perfect. The third act was amazing. Uh, that's all, and that's it. Number 4 is Kick Ass. Now, this is a weird movie to put in my list because I know probably half of you guys haven't seen this movie. I don't know. I love this movie from beginning to end.
Kick-Ass is an awesome movie.
I'm sorry that I was talking about Shazam for like 5 minutes. I love it so much.
Kick-Ass was an
Anyways,
awesome movie.
damn right.
Kick-Ass 2 I thought was so much funnier, but I like Kick-Ass
Kick
1
Ass
too.
2 was shit. Don't lie. All right.
You were shit. Fuck you.
What? Excuse you? Let me talk now. 3, 2, 1. Kick-Ass is an amazing movie. I love how Vince Vaughn takes this new and creative world of superheroes in real life, where this world has stakes and actual death. Like in that scene with Mark Strong as the villain. Like, oh, sorry, Matthew Vaughn is the director of this movie. I might be wrong again.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Vince Vaughn didn't do shit.
I'm sorry. I get those two mixed up. Anyways, the suit is great for Kick-Ass, and Aaron Taylor Johnson is perfect as Kick-Ass as well. And it's kind of weird that both him and Evan Peters played Quicksilver later on in life, and they were both in the same movie, and they were friends, which is kind of weird. I don't know. Anyways, I love that scene. I love that whole movie. The fight scenes were just great. I love the third act. The villain is pretty funny. Tyler, stop it. And yeah, Kick Ass is just all around a perfect movie. That end with the grenade launcher, yo, Hit Girl, amazing. Yo, Big Daddy is just amazing. Even though he's kind of a Batman ripoff, like, wow. Number 3 is Avengers: Infinity War. Honestly, the most one of the most perfect Marvel movies, and it showed that Marvel Studios and Disney had balls to actually kill off all their characters, kinda, even though they all came back in Endgame. But it was worth it, and Thanos is just an amazing villain, the best villain in the MCU, maybe of all time. Who knows? And like the way they shot the movie, the way the performances in the movie are just great. That Thor scene where he arrives in Wakanda is worth the whole movie alone. Rocket was great. Bucky, Cap, Tony. Tony's arc in this movie is amazing. Hulk is amazing in this movie. Doctor Strange is the standout of this movie alone. Like, Doctor Strange in a solo movie was kind of eh. In this movie, he flew to the stars. Doctor Strange was amazing in this movie. Can't say enough about him. But this movie is all around pretty perfect. I just don't like the scene with like Scarlet Witch and Vision because I feel like the movie just stops there. Like I don't know. I just don't like that scene. If you take that scene out, then it'll probably be like, I like this movie a lot better. Anyways, number 2 is Avengers Endgame. This is pretty surprising. What's gonna be number 1? You'll see. Now Endgame is the best MCU movie of all time, and might be the best comic book movie of all time. That third act alone makes it just proves that it like I can't believe that actually happened. It's like a comic splash page brought to life. Ant-Man, this giant Cap, and all the Avengers are there. Even the Guardians, like, are just amazing. Like, I can't believe that actually happened. And the Cap has ammonia, yo. And then, it, and then when after Cap got beat the shit out of Thanos, he told. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I just love this movie so much. Falcon's like, yo, Cap, on your left. I screamed in the theater. Like, I can't believe that happened. And the yellow portal came out of the background. And then the portal song by Adam Silvestri was just incredible. It was tear jerking. Like, wow. What a score for that scene. It brings a tear to my eye every time I think about it. I'm not gonna lie. That scene is just beautiful alone, and that movie is perfect. I love how the first 2 acts are slow, and it takes time to go to the third act. And like, I really love how, like, it's not really, no one really expected the movie to be like that. Like, I just love how, like, it takes a time with these characters learning and grieving from the events of Infinity War. Now, for special number 1.
No
Everybody,
one cares.
everybody shut up talking in the chat. All right. Sorry, cut that out. Okay, so number 1 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think this is the best Spider-Man movie of all time, and this movie is just amazing.
Fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck
Okay,
you.
this movie is amazing to the art style. There are details in this movie people will realize 10 years down the road. The characters in this are great. Peter B. Parker is an amazing character, showing an old grizzled Spider-Man, which we really haven't seen before. This is the first time kind of seeing him. Nicolas Cage is perfect in this movie as Spider-Man Noir, or just Spider Noir, I think they called him. Penny Parker is great as Spider thing. I forgot what the name was. Spider Ham was probably my favorite character out of the whole movie. Like, jeez, I love Spider Ham. John, shut up. And then Miles Morales was just amazing. This movie, the whole like what Tyler said, where Prowler was revealed to be Miles's like uncle. I didn't really care for that scene because I already knew he was his uncle because I read the actual comic. So that scene didn't really have an effect on me. It was pretty cool though, but that scene where Kingpin actually shot his uncle was surprising. So I'm surprised that actually happened in this movie. My favorite scene is probably the second act where they're in Aunt May's home where they're all fighting. I don't know. There's something about that scene I just really love. And Peter talking to MJ at the third act was great. And this movie it's just perfect. I watched this movie 3 times in theaters, and then when it came out on like Blu-ray or whatever, I watched it 5 more times. And it's gonna be on Netflix soon. I'm gonna watch it more times because I just love this movie so much, and I relate to this movie so much. Literally, anyone can wear the mask. There, I'm done. You guys are done suffering now.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for that list. Very interesting list. Ziggler, you're up next.
Alright, I'm gonna keep this short and simple because Hound fucking took like 10 fucking hours.
I'm sorry. I just love these movies so much.
And then Tyler took like 6 hours. And then Cam took like, what, 5 minutes? But anyways,
I feel like Syed took a long time.
fuck you, Hound. You don't get to say this. So number 10 is The Kingsman: The Secret Service. It was pretty much a love letter to spy movies, and you can see how Matthew Vaughn really loves spy movies and the spy genre. So it was a great surprise, and yeah. Number 9 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This was a great fucking movie and a great fucking sequel to the first Captain America. Number 8 is Logan, for obvious reasons. Number 7 is the OG Avengers. It is the third best Avengers movie. Obviously, not that hard to compete with. Number 6, number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy. It is the best Guardians movie. Guardians Volume 2 was pure fucking dog shit. And yeah, this is like James Gunn masterpiece. And number 5 is X-Men Days of Futures.
It wasn't that bad.
What?
It was cool. It wasn't that bad.
Volume 2 was pure fucking shit.
Ego was awesome.
I wouldn't like
Ego
my
was a great villain. Ego
dude.
was
Volume 2 was awful. The story was boring. The comedy was bad. The timing was off. It was just bad. It was just a Marvel sequel.
Ego was cool. Ego was
Yes,
dope.
Ego was dope. Other than that, it was very bland, and it just didn't hit well for me like the original did. And number 5 is X-Men Days of Future Past, for obvious reasons. It's the best X-Men movie in my opinion. Number 4 is Avengers: Infinity War.
Nah.
And what? Who said nah?
First Class is the best X-Men movie.
Okay, this is my opinion, so you sit the fuck down, Hound. Sit on your fucking
shit.
dildo and come like a bitch. Alright.
What the fuck?
Number three. Number
You sounded
three.
like you got caught.
Number three is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Hey,
That's the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. Number
damn
two
right.
is of number two and number one. I went back and forth on this for so long, and this was hard. So that's what she said. Number two is Avengers
What he
Endgame.
said.
Number two is Avengers Endgame, and it's the best Avengers movie of all time. And it's just a fucking masterpiece. It it's just fucking great as hell. And number one, my all-time favorite comic book movie, and I think is the best. I don't care. Captain America: Civil War. This was fucking awesome. Like it, it was the best comic book movie of all time in my opinion, and just seeing it in the theater for the first time, it was just fucking awesome. I loved every second of it. All right, I'm done.
All right, thank you for that list.
Okay.
And let's have Shawn reveal his list.
I,
Welcome to
I
the
just have
podcast,
I just have a
Shawn.
quick question. I just have a quick. Can I have two movies tied for one number?
Yeah,
No.
you can mention the tie, but you gotta pick the better one.
Fuck, never mind. All right, I'm just gonna go with my list part two.
All
All
right,
right, so
sounds good, Shawn. So go ahead with your favorite comic movie list. Go ahead.
I'm gonna start with number 10. Is the first ever Hellboy movie. That was the better out of all the Hellboy movies that ever came out, and that's my literal like childhood because I got really into Hellboy as a kid, and it's just a good ass movie. The second one is and the third and the newest one it was so yeah. Number 9 is The Dark Knight Rises. Um, don't hate me, but I still haven't seen all of The Dark Knight. I just haven't for some reason. Um, but I always liked The Dark Knight Rises so much because of Tom Hardy's portrayal as Bane, and I think it's just an awesome ass movie. Number 8 is Captain America 3: Civil War. I think this is the best out of the Captain America movies, and the end fight with Tony, Cap, and Bucky. It's fucking amazing. Number 7 is X-Men: Days of Future Past, and that is, like Ziggler said, the best X-Men movie, and and just the track and the editing on that shit, and by the end, it's just so like gets you right in the feelings. It's such an amazing movie. Um, Number 6 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, I would agree it's the best Spider-Man movie, but not personally. I wouldn't say personally it's not my number one. It's one of my favorite movies. I really love that we got a Miles Morales movie. Shit, and just you can't get sick of that movie. It's such a unique take on a animated movie. And number 5 is Spider-Man 2, which is shit. I keep forgetting his name, but the guy who plays Doc Ock, is phenomenal. Like, geez, like he was one of the most perfect people to play.
I think his
So,
name is Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina, yeah, he's a fucking love him as that, and that's I think Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of the greatest superhero movies of all time in general. Like it's up there with Endgame. It was such a good movie. Number 4 is Avengers: Infinity War. Um, Definitely, this one was more action packed throughout the movie. Endgame mostly had action in certain spots, and definitely not the best Avengers movie, but uh, more more gripping at you the entire movie. Avengers Endgame mostly had you gripped at the whole movie, but like emotionally, like getting you completely at certain spots. And then number 3 is Endgame. Kind of a low spot, but it's not the better movie. It's the personal favorites, and Endgame is just by far the. I've never screamed louder in a theater, and I've never reacted that way in a theater. And I saw it twice in one day with Ziggler, and the first time after seeing Tony's death, the rest of the movie I was done. I couldn't focus on anything. I was literally sitting there with my head in my hands, just literally like tears flowing and everything. I couldn't focus. And
Yeah, the second time we saw it, it
we
was.
got the picture. We have to take it in a little bit more, and I got to see everything I missed. But oh man, that was an experience. Number two is Logan. Wolverine is my second favorite superhero of all time, and this movie was the first movie I've ever cried in at the movie theater. And literally weeks after seeing it, I was still emotionally damaged. That's how much it got out of me. And the first time I've ever seen like someone I've loved for so long dying on screen, oh, it ruined me. And then number one, the obvious choice is Iron Man 1. This is probably my favorite superhero movie. It's not the best, literally, like compared to Endgame, but this is my favorite superhero movie and just one of my favorite movies in general with Robert Downey and Jeff Bridges in it. I think it's a match made in heaven because it's perfect superhero, supervillain uh, facing, and it's just I just love this movie so much. So yeah, that's number one.
Okay, thank you for that. And we will have Tyler reveal the final WMST list for top 10 favorite comic book movies of all time. So go ahead, Tyler, reveal the final list.
So you guys want me to explain these points or
No.
No, just reveal them starting from 10 through all the way
This
to number
videos
one.
are like 5 hours long, so.
okay? Well, at number 10, you got X-Men: Days of Future Past. Number 9, you got Thor Ragnarok. Number 7 and 8, there's a tie. So, do you guys want to vote for which one gets 7?
Sure.
Which one's okay? So the tie
What's
is
that?
between we got Winter Soldier and you got The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Oh, Winter Soldier.
Okay,
Winter
one at a
Soldier.
time.
At 7. Winter Soldier 7.
Okay,
I'll
there's
check
1
Dark
1-1. 2-1 for Dark Knight, Shawn.
Me.
Winter
I did
Soldier,
Dark
Shawn.
Knight Rises.
What?
What?
Dark
Winter
Knight
Soldier,
Rises
Dark
isn't an option.
I didn't even wait. I didn't hear what you said.
Winter Soldier or Dark Knight?
Winter Soldier.
2-2.
Okay, well,
Tyler, you're the
it's on me.
tiebreaker.
I'm going with Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't even
Okay,
seen
so
that.
Dark
The
Knight.
Dark
movie?
Knight. The Dark Knight C plus movie at best.
DC
Damn.
loses again.
Alright, guys, chill,
Okay.
chill. Let
So
Tyler
Dark Knight
reveal
gets
the
number
list.
8, 7 gets, or Winter Soldier 7. Number 6 is Captain America: Civil War. Number 5 is
Some
Logan.
bullshit.
4 is Spider-Man 2. 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. 2 is Infinity War, and 1 is obviously
Iron
Endgame.
Man.
Wow.
No,
Iron-
no.
Yeah, if Iron Man was number 1, I would just walk. I would just throw my fucking phone out the window.
Yeah, I mean, alright. I'd say that's a pretty good list. So we'll have the list written on the screen. So 1 year from now, we'll update this list and see how different it gets, or how.
Yeah, I wonder
It
who's gonna
stays.
do the list.
Yeah, we'll
Hound.
see.
Hound.
We'll see. All right.
I do not
Thanks,
trust
everybody.
Hound with that.
Yeah. All
Yo,
right.
what?
Thanks everybody for tuning in to the special episode, and tune in for this Friday's episode of WMST, which will probably be uploaded on Saturday. So see you guys later.